Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Habs Tonight. This is an episode that really means a lot to, I think, a lot of hockey fans everywhere, specifically Montreal fans. But, of course, joined by Annik and Dale Weise. What's going on, you guys?
Going good.
Yeah, it's good. Really good. Really good. I'm excited to get on and talk about this. This is something that we've been talking about a ton on our show. And then we all three of us touched on Joe a couple of weeks back, and now that led us to why we're here again today.
Yeah, it's been a touchy subject. It's affected a lot of people, a lot of the guys, and I think a lot of the fan base. So we should just dive right into it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, Dale, it's interesting because I think a lot of fans look forward to hearing from you. And one of the reasons specifically today is because, of course, you were teammates with Carey, but you and Carey are also good friends. And I think that a lot of people appreciate that side of the relationship that you guys have on the personal level, which is why another reason why you really wanted to do this show is for episodes like today, where it's more about what's going on behind the scenes in the hockey world. So just tell us about, Carey, and if you had the chance maybe to talk to him this week since this announcement was made.
Yeah, so I was actually at the grocery store when I found out, about him getting into the player assisted program. I don't know, I just popped on TSN and popped up, and I saw, Carey Price in there, and I was shocked. I think everybody was when you see this. Obviously, knowing him personally, I knew it wasn't like a player assisted, alcoholic thing or a player assisted drug thing. I knew obviously this was a mental health concern. So, first and foremost, as a friend, I was concerned for him, shocked and concerned. And I reached out to him. We chatted briefly. We had a little chat, and I won't go into crazy detail about his personal life. He's a very personal guy, but I think it's something that we've stressed on this show a lot, that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't get a chance to see. And we talked about it before. I'm really, really glad that he's done this. Like, I mentioned in my tweet that a lot of people saw, but a player of that magnitude and that kind of star power to come out and say, hey, I'm not okay. I need some help. I need to step away. Like, that is so good. I was like so proud of him. I was like, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for doing this, because you're going to honestly help so many people, and honestly players. I mean, if a guy like Carey Price can come out and admit, hey, I'm not okay. I need some help. I need to take some time. Like, anybody can do it. And I don't know if, Drew coming out maybe, showed him, like, look how much love and praise this guy got when he came back. Everybody was behind him and cheering for him. That it made it easier. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but now that you got one guy and you got Carey Price, like, this is so good, not even just for hockey, but for the world to see. Like, people idolize Carey Price. I idolize Carey Price. I'm his biggest fan, and to have the courage and the power and come out and say, like, I'm not okay. Like, that is just so good. That is so good, man. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. No, I think it's extremely well said that this is going to open a lot of opportunities for different people to come out and say, I need help and I need to take a step back. And I think the most important part too was the positivity that came out of this. Everybody said something and everybody was like, you know what, man, go do you. Think of you and your family. And you rarely saw any backlash. Which is surprising because, let's be honest, Twitter and social media is just a shit pot. So it was great to see everybody behind Carey. And we said it on our social, is that Carey's been carrying Montreal for 16 years now. Now is the time for Montreal to carry him. I think that's the best way to say it.
Pun intended.
Yeah,
No
very
pun
good.
intended. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. I
Very
was
committed.
surprised. I was surprised there was like, I didn't scroll through everything, but everything was so positive. There was very few negative comments. And there was a couple which are boneheads, but I was so surprised. Everybody was like, proud of him. And I just think it was so good. Again, a person of that magnitude to come out and say that, it's just opened so many doors for people. And, he's carried that team for a long time. He was carrying the team when I was there big time. And you go through that toll, and we talked to a couple of guys, about how was it in COVID? How was it, not being able to interact with the world? And, you're stuck in a hotel room all day, and your family can't come here and do that. And the last 2 years has been a grind for guys. Like, the world, it's been a grind for everybody. Don't get me wrong, but the hockey world, these players, what they've gone through the last 2 years is, I'm surprised there's not more guys that are struggling.
And if anything, this is just opens the whole. I think I have to think. Just I mean, I don't know Carey personally, but he's thinking of other people besides himself in this decision. No.
For sure, absolutely. I think Angela, his wife, is very open on social media. She posts a ton. You get a look into see their life a ton. And I think you look at that situation where. How's his family been dealing with this the last little bit? Like, you look all the way back to last summer, you're away for 2 months. You can't see that takes a toll on you. I said it, like, I had to take the last year off because for 2 months, I didn't see my family. Like, I was not happy. I was depressed. I couldn't go away and do it again. So for these guys to go and do it for 8 more months, the way that season was too, like, holy smokes, man,
It's insane.
It's just incredible what they've gone through. And Carey and his family are very, very involved in the Indigenous communities. So you think about what happened there, like, that's taken a toll on everybody. For someone that's involved and has seen those struggles, man, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, like that's just heavy. I mean, it's been like ever since COVID started, it's been like grief upon grief. There's been just a lot of issues in society exposed, right? Like so many things, just we could name them off on a list here. And Indigenous communities, of course, is one of the biggest ones, being that Carey represents that community. And that's what makes me proud of him, I guess, from a fan perspective, because he's such a big voice, not just, well, for them. I mean, yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of, is just that community specifically. He's near the top of the list in terms of people that people look up to.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And he wears it with pride. So this is, man, I can't say it enough, just how proud I am for him to come out and do this and take the time that he needs to get right, get his family back. And you just, to look at it from the hockey side, when he comes back, you're going to get the best of Carey Price. And
Exactly.
As Montreal Canadian fans, as we all are, you got to be excited about the kind of guy that you're going to get coming back after this.
And you kind of got to think of the boys too, like Dominique Ducharme and Marc Bergevin were saying when they announced it to the boys, you could hear a pin drop in the room. It affected them so much because you put hockey aside, like you said, he's a good friend of yours. He's a good friend of everybody. He's a leadership man inside the room. So the boys must be pumped to win for Carey.
Yeah.
That's got to be a thought, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, win as much as you can to give yourself a chance to still be in the running. You don't know how long he's going to be out. You don't know if this is going to be a month? Is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be, you just don't know with things like this. So you're going to want to battle for him. And as a teammate and speaking directly from experience, like, I was always so impressed with how Carey took the brunt of everything all the time. Like, we would have team meetings and he would literally say, like, yeah, I got to be better, boys. And everyone's looking around like, what are you talking about? Like, you stood on your head all year. And it's just that's just the type of person he is. To carry that weight, no pun intended again.
No pun intended, yeah.
to carry that weight is, I mean, I said it in my tweet, like, nobody can understand, myself included, what that's like. And, every single guy respects him so much as a teammate, works his bag off every single day. never sells out his teammates where, hey, I was unreal tonight, but my team was terrible in front of me. There's plenty of guys that do that, and he's never done that. So he's so well respected by his teammates. And man, you're just going to want to do well for him and see him, obviously recover and come back at 100%, because when he comes back at 100, there's nobody better in the world. And we saw that in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's not done. I mean, getting as close as he did to the Stanley Cup. Yeah. And then, there's a prospect of maybe Weber coming back. Anyway, I won't get into that. That's another subject for another day. But getting the two brothers back. Okay, folks, it's exciting, that idea. Anyway, but I'm thinking about, like, Dale and I are wrestling fans, right? And, like, you think of all these returns, like returns to the WWE were such a big thing. Like, whenever it's such a big adrenaline rush, the love from the crowd. Like, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin's had about 20 returns because, like, like his music hits, the glass breaks, and the crowd just goes ballistic, and you never get sick of that. They're hooked on it, right? I mean, they're hooked on that feeling.
Absolutely.
And when Carey, it's going to start with Joe at the home opener, and Nick, you're going to be there, you lucky friggin' duck.
So lucky. It's going to be wild.
Like, you think of the ovation Joe's going to get, and then Carey. I mean, like, my gosh, is it not going to make this time? I'm
getting goosebumps, honestly, right now thinking about it. Like, when they start when they go get the Carey chant going, it gets me so fired up. That was like my favorite thing when the game would start, and they'd start. He starts starting lineup Carey Price, and then it's Carey on the bench. I would start chanting myself, like, I get so into it. Like, it just fires, man. There's nothing better. It's going to be such a cool ovation. For Joe too. For Joe's going to get a nice one.
I think the perfect scenario would be for Joe to score that night too.
Yeah,
imagine the place
be like a playoff game
after 2 years. I can't picture, like, the loudest that I've heard the Bell Center was that 2014 series when you were there, Game 3, where Book scored with like 17 seconds in against Tampa.
I would agree.
I would agree. I heard the Bell Center. I was in the 200s, and the floor was shaking.
For sure.
And they lit the Bell Center on fire. Like, it's just insane. So I can't imagine that night. I think it's going to
that gives me goosebumps. Honestly, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about that. There's just moments you just never forget. That was, I agree with you. Like, the loudest I've ever heard. And I think with the fans back, it's going to feel like that. It's going to be electric.
I have to go get my dog because he ran out of the. Oh, here he is. Okay, I have to go close the door because little Sherman is trying to escape. So I know we're on, but I'm gonna let you guys take over.
For sure. I guess another thing that's been talked about is, I don't know if you saw it, but how emotional Marc Bergevin got when he got asked what Carey means as Carey Price, not only the goaltender, but the human being. Were you surprised to see Bergie that emotional? I mean, we saw him almost cry when he signed Gallagher, so I wasn't surprised, but is he that type of guy all the time with his players?
Yeah. As much as I've given it to him a couple times on the show, only because he didn't resign me. But I have so much respect for Berge. He is that emotional. He cares. He's, I don't want to say one of the few GMs that actually care about their players, but he cares. Behind closed doors, when we'd have meetings with him and the team, there was times where he would get so mad he'd almost be crying and be that emotional. But always there as a person that cared about people outside of the game first. It was always, you're a player, and then you're Montreal Canadiens second with Marc Bergevin. So I watched the interview. I thought it kind of teared me up a little bit. You just see, when all the guys were talking about Carey, just how much he means to those guys. And I know it as a teammate, how much you respect him and what he's done and the way he's done it. So I was such a great shot. I was not surprised to see Berge talk that way, and I really liked what he had to say about it.
It was a tough watch. I was choking up a little bit there. Not gonna lie.
I think we all were this week, and here I am again. But I was listening to you guys. I was getting choked up watching this clip of Dale and Carey after Montreal beat Ottawa in 2015. When Carey put on a showstopper performance, shutting out Ottawa in the Canadian Tire Center. Yeah. And Dale scored of course, as we know, the tying goal and the overtime winner the game before, handing off what did you guys? What was this? Like? It looks like a Rocky Balboa type of.
Yeah, it was kind of like a
boxing.
robe. It was kind of like a robe. Yeah, it was. I think Dan Lacroix, the assistant coach at the time, was the one who made it. And after every game, we took the photo, and he put the photo up on the wall of the player of the game or whatever. And everybody kind of does the same thing. But that one, that was special for us to obviously close out that series. Carey was lights out that whole series, and that was Ottawa was coming too. We were in trouble. We get up 3-0, 3-1. 3-2, and they absolutely dominated us in that game. There was like we had no business winning that game. And you lose, they come back and make 3-3. We go to game 7. We might be in trouble, but he was unbelievable that night. And I think a lot of people have seen the clip where, Prusty comes in the room. It's like, don't say anything. Nobody say anything when he comes in. Because you expect, you just clinched the series. The guy was absolutely lights out. He's expecting to get the ovation he does after. But you can see his face when he sits down in the class. It's one of my favorite clips. That's such a good moment. And you could just see how humble he is. Like he comes in, he's like, whatever. Like,
I'm going to show it. I want to show. I do have the clip, guys. So 5 seconds. We're going to try. We're going to YouTube. Please be kind to us. Okay. We're going to show this clip for the first few seconds because we have it. So let's just show it. Oh, it's awesome, man. I love that. Such a good feeling.
One of my favorite behind the scenes clips has to be.
That's so good.
Had to do it, guys. Had to do it. I mean, if we get dinged, we get dinged. We don't care about this video being monetized today. This is about Carey Price.
And, we'll take our chances on that one.
We'll take our chances. So, but let's jump right into this forthcoming season, guys. So much, such a weird year, as we know, year and a half, whatever you want to call it. But we got a season starting this week on Wednesday, and we got some injuries to the Canadiens, as we know. But let's just quickly talk about what we can expect from the Canadiens. A lot of folks, not expecting them to make the playoffs, which is, again, a mistake, because if you learn anything from this past playoffs, don't bet against these guys. So, but let's get your guys' take on, what we expect from the team this year.
Let's go ahead first, Dale.
Yeah. I think I'm on the same page as you, Dekes. I don't think you can bet against these guys. When you go on a character run like that, you have that bond of the guys that are there, and that's something to say. Like, you look at, I'm speaking from experience, we went on that run in 2014 and we changed some guys, but our core guys were still there in 2015, and you could feel it when we came back that there was just that cohesiveness, and you expect some big things out of Caulfield. You expect Suzuki to, take another step. I love the way their team lines up. I think Anderson's been incredible in preseason. Consistent wise, every game he plays, he's lights out. So if he's consistent, he's healthy, I don't think a 30-goal season is out of question for him as a big power forward. That's a bold statement, I know, but I think he can score 30. I've seen a lot of criticism about the back end. I got no issues with the back end. I really like their back end. I think Romy's going to step up. I'd love to see him, really, really embrace a top 4 role. You caught glimpses of it last year. Now he's got some consistency with it. And then obviously everybody knows the importance of Carey Price, but I think people, because the playoffs were so long and Jake didn't get a chance to play, I think they forgot how good he was last year. If it wasn't for Jake Allen, the Montreal Canadiens aren't in the playoffs. Yeah. Let's just be frank. So very, very capable starter. He started before, very, very capable, playing a handful of games. So I like this team under Dom's, tutelage, where he's had the camp to run his systems. I think they're as good as anybody. The parity in the NHL is so small nowadays. I don't know how you can peg a team and say, well, I don't think they're a playoff team. I just don't think you can say that. Too many things to happen over the year. And then, hopefully you get some of these injury guys hopefully coming back soon. I'd love to see Paquette in there soon, and Hoffman, and those guys those are difference makers on Paquette on your bottom 6, I think, is a difference maker. I think there's some room for a guy like that in their bottom 6. So I like it, man. I like it. I'm excited to get the season going for them. I'm pumped up.
There's been a lot of discussion on, I don't know if you've been seeing that aspect or not, but on Ryan Poehling. So he's been kind of the whipping boy of the past couple of weeks. I mean, nothing new in the fan base, but has he done enough to make the team? You take a look at the majority saying no, and a lot of people are saying, well, maybe give him the chance to start the season, and if he doesn't cut it, do you switch him with Paquette? Because you got Jake Evans who's going to get that third spot hands down, right?
I think he's in one of those situations, and just from how I've seen teams work, I think he's a guy that you just keep on your team. I think he did enough in the American League last year. I don't think they see the need for it. And I've seen the criticism, and I think it's really hard to criticize guys in preseason, where was he put in a really offensive role in games? That was, I don't know if he was. They don't expect him to be a top 6 offensive guy. So I think he's one of those guys. And then again, you're warranted by a first round draft pick. GMs and a lot of guys in the organization have vouched for this guy already. And the way a lot of teams work is like, okay, we're going to give him as many chances as we can until he fails repeatedly. So I think he starts on the team, and I think they continue to go that way. I don't think, as a third-year pro and a first-round draft pick by them, and everybody knows the criticism on a lot of their first-round picks, for the last decade have not been a lot of, very successful. So I think he's a guy you keep on the team, and hopefully, once he makes the team, you're like, okay, relax. You made the team. You're not grinding for a spot, because that grinds on you. The kids, there's a lot of pressure on him to make the team this year and perform, because he was kind of the one guy that were like, okay, is he going to make the team or is he not? Everyone else is penciled in. Who's on the roster. He was kind of the one guy that was like, okay, can he play himself on the team? But I think, the reputation, what he did last year in the American League and as a first round pick, the team's invested in him, that they're going to give him a lot of opportunities to succeed.
Yeah. And as we heard, having him on the show, not even 2 months ago, a fresh mindset. I think this whole mental health thing is really going to become more of a widespread thing that people are going to hopefully work on, because you can see that Ryan worked on it in the off season. He had to unplug from hockey, come back. His first preseason game against Toronto, he almost had 2 goals. So, I mean, when my first taste of Ryan Poehling in the preseason was very good, I thought. And then, after that, I'm like, just like you said, Dale, I'm thinking the same thing. How do you evaluate guys properly and fully in the preseason? I just don't think I don't think you can.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I've only ever seen one guy play himself onto the team. And that was Travis Konechny in Philadelphia, who's a pretty damn good player. And he was 19. It was like, okay, he has to make the team or he has to go back to junior. And they did not expect him to make the team. There's no way. You could see the way the lineup was projected. He was probably not making the team. He came in, scored 5 goals in the first 5 exhibition games. And it was like, okay, this kid's lights out. He's got to play here. Other than that, I've never seen, a guy come in and like really light it up and make the team. I've never, it's tough in preseason. It's really weird. I don't know. I almost want to say it's easier when you get in the regular season. I don't know. You just think less. There's better players around you. It's a little more structured when you get the everyday NHL guys in there. It's not like preseason where, I'm watching Toronto and Gabriel's running around side to side and stuff like, that doesn't happen when it gets to the everyday NHLers. So I think he's going to get in and be just fine. I think, people are being a little overcritical of him.
Yeah. I mean, Ylonen, one of his line mates, just got cut today. So if you look at that too, I mean, I want to see who he's actually going to play within the regular season before you make any kind of real evaluation. So that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Great point. When you get in with some solid, simple, everyday NHLers that are pretty predictable to read, how they're going to play. I think he'll fit in and do just fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolute.
One defenseman that has impressed me is Chris Weidman. I don't know what you think about him, but I see him in the lineup right now.
I thought it was a good signing by Berge. I was kind of, I always thought he was a really good player when I saw him. Offensive, good power play guy. And I was surprised when he left and went to the KHL. It's very rare for a guy to, leave the NHL, go to the KHL and come back. So I was very, very surprised first to see him leave because I thought he was an NHL player, and then get a chance to come back. But I think it's a great signing. Great power play guy. I always thought he was a really good player. I think he fits them. When you look at Montreal's defensemen and the way they line up right now, I think he fits very, very well with that six.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, there's also the fact that Joel Edmondson is likely, well, he's not going to start the season by the looks of it, unless something really drastically changes. But Kaiden Guhle trying to make his case to make this lineup, even if he just plays, like even if he just plays that 9 games, Dale, like this kid looks like a first rounder. I think it was Shaner that said that. I'm not going to take credit for that one, but we've seen good things from him. He's 6'3", he's over 200 pounds, he's a big kid. Doesn't look out of place right now. So what do you think they should do with Guhle to handle him properly?
Well, I think they have to look no further than Jesperi to figure out what you need to do with this kid. I know he's been incredible. I know people love him. People want to see him in the NHL. But I am just truly the biggest believer, unless, and I'm not saying he's not elite, but unless you're like I'm talking elite guys that are going to come in, play on your first line, play on your power play. You're like literally 3 to 5 guys that are like elite guys like that. The best thing you can do is send the kid back to junior, let him absolutely dominate, let him play in the World Juniors, and then come back a year stronger a little bit. And a year makes a big difference at that age. Huge difference. Just go and dominate and stay confident. Like, I just don't know if Montreal's team is set up to see this kid come in, play huge minutes, and be successful. Like, I just don't think it's the best thing to do. Look no further than KK to see what happened. And there's plenty of examples of that. So I think you see what you have in the kid. I think you have a tremendous defenseman in the future. Don't rush that. Don't rush that. That is a 10, 15-year defenseman that's on your team. I don't agree in rushing it. I've never, like I said, unless you're like that elite guy that comes in and he's, a point a game forward or like a minute eating defenseman that's going to play 30 minutes. He's going to be elite. Send him back to junior.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was agreeing. I think don't rush his development. The year extra, like you said, is going to make a huge difference when he comes back to camp next year. And who knows, we might actually have the perfect spot for him next year too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think a year from now.
I was just thinking more of like they're just stuck and they have to put someone in until Edmondson's back and maybe just take a look at him for 9 games. But is that a recipe for disaster too, potentially, if they do? Because what if he does play well and they just can't kick him into the lineup?
That was literally going to be my next thing. And that's, to me, that is the best situation, because if he goes and he plays 9 games now and he's absolutely lights out and he's like one of the best defensemen on their team every night, then it's easy. You're like, okay, like we have to. He totally forced our hand. But if he comes in and gets a little experience and he plays well and you're like, wow, he could play here, then that's when like, okay, this is an easy decision. I need to send him back to junior. Let the kid develop. This is your future. You're not going to rush him. Okay, he's average for 9 games and then we force him into the lineup. I mean, when I was in Philly, Nolan Patrick was a 2nd overall pick. And he played 9 exhibition games in preseason. And I think he had 1 assist in the 9 games. They didn't really give him he wasn't on the power play a lot. They didn't really give him a good look. He's an offensive player. He's drafted 2nd overall. They kept him. He's playing on the 4th line. He's, he ended up getting hurt. Like, it was just, I've seen a lot of bad situations where that happens to guys. And unless they blow your socks off in 9 games and they make the decision easy for you, send the kid back, let him have the year of his life, World Juniors, everything. And then next year you have an absolute stud coming in and you have a spot for him.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, you know what, really Dale, if the Canadiens are looking for an assistant coach in the future, you should apply.
Well, that might segue into something else we wanted to talk about. I'd prefer to be a GM over a coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been trending today. A few journalists have been writing that Bergie has basically put his put his price down on Good. Put his price down on what he wants, not backing away, and the negotiations with Jeff Molson have apparently broken off. So it's rumored that he's going to spend his last year and then leave. Do you think he stays? Do you think he resigns? If so, how long?
That's really interesting. When you break down the stuff last year where they were talking about, he was almost saying he's overwhelmed and he wants to quit and he doesn't want to do it anymore. I wonder if that was like his bargaining chip or how he's working it. Like I don't know. He's never going to have more negotiating power than right now. There's just, after the run that they went on, some of the moves that he's made the last couple of years, like, you look at the Toffoli signing, like it's such a good signing last year. Like every single move that he brings in is gold. So his negotiating power is up here. I don't know what he's asking for. Like I know coaches' salaries have kind of blown up, and you see guys like I think Quenneville was making like $8 million or something, and I know Babcock got that big deal, but I don't know the exact salaries for GMs. So I'd be interested to know where he sees himself slotting in. And then I wonder, like, how honest was he when he said last year, when he told people he wasn't sure if he wanted to keep going?
Said,
you saw the toll.
I'll honor my last year.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like that. Oh, okay.
Right? Like that was kind of a weird comment. Was that a bargaining chip? I don't know. Like, he's a smart guy. So I don't know. I have a hard time imagining too that Jeff Molson wouldn't just say, okay, write your number down. That's fine. Like they've worked together for so long. I'm puzzled by this. Very puzzled.
There's a lot of question marks for sure. Another trending subject too was, okay, if you don't keep Bergie as a GM, could you see him as a president of hockey ops?
Yeah. I think that's one. Yeah, and I think that fits in with his saying he's not sure he'll on it. Like maybe he wants to step away from being the bullseye every time something goes wrong or you do something in Montreal. You can have your voice. There's plenty of guys like that around the league where they're involved with the GM. They're not the bullseye and the guy who has to get up and stage and talk all the time. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. Who would the next GM of the Montreal Canadiens be?
That's what I've been questioning myself. I know my dad and I were talking about this going to Montreal yesterday for a quick road trip, and we were saying maybe Vincent D'Anfous, who is on RDS right now, who's a very smart hockey knowledge contract type of guy. So could you see somebody going more business-y side?
Wow, I don't know. That's a really, really good candidate, I think. A guy that's played in that market, understands what it's like to be a player there, which I think, not that Berge doesn't know what it's like to be a player. He had a tremendous career. But I think to have a guy like that's been there, obviously takes a lot of pride in that jersey. I think he'd be great. I always liked listening to him. I always had the subtitles on when he's talking most of the time, but I like what he had to say. I think he's a really smart guy, tremendous player, tremendous leader. I think he'd be a good option.
Yeah, because apart from that, I mean, personal choice would be Julien Brisebois, but he just signed in Tampa, so obviously he's not gonna step away from that contract. But I'm trying to think, apart from the fan base who's saying Patrick Roy should be your next GM there. Like, I mean, let's be honest, that would stir up some things.
Wow, I would love to see him too. That would be so interesting. Patrick Roy, the GM of the Montreal Canadiens.
To expect, like the type of moves that he would just come in and just switch, or
he would have some he would have some swagger doing it.
Yeah.
Like I know it's
got balls of steel, so
yeah. Oh yeah. And he had a really successful junior program where he was pulling the strings on everything. Obviously the NHL, there's some different things, but he would be a good option too. I think it'd be interesting to watch. That's all I know. I don't know if
it would be a whirlpool of emotions, I feel.
Yeah. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I can't think of anybody else apart from those two that would maybe be candidates.
Yeah, it's hard to think.
Who else do you have that contract is maybe up soon? Like, I don't know.
That's such a polarizing position too, to be the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. Like, that holds a lot of weight. That would be
Well,
a
they were saying it throughout the press conference the other day, where how is it being a GM in the Montreal market? And he flat out said, in Montreal, when it's good, but when it's bad, you know how bad it gets.
Mhm.
So don't tell me that it doesn't take a mental aspect off. Like, I
Oh,
can't
it's
imagine the stress this guy has. I
oh yeah,
do
and you
not
can
want to
see
see
it. You can see it, and he's a guy that likes to have fun and get out. Like I
yeah.
couldn't imagine when things are not going well that he can pop out for a dinner and not have every single person in that restaurant telling him what he needs to do, who he needs to trade for, who he needs to get rid of. Like, there's just no way. There's no way. And that's
Yeah.
no disrespect to the Montreal people. Like, that's just they're passionate fans.
Montreal.
So
Yeah.
that's what you love about it. But as a GM, like every single day going somewhere, you can't he can't have a normal life as Marc Bergevin. Everybody knows who you are.
No,
And
I can't.
he's embraced that role a lot,
Yeah.
and he's been awesome at it with his
In
his
9
beautiful
years.
hair and his beautiful
9
suits.
years.
Like, yeah, like
9
he's
years of
embraced it.
stress. I can't
Yeah.
imagine this
Oh,
guy's pressure on everything. I don't want his job, that's for sure.
no.
But yeah, Danfos might be a smart option for if you're going
Yeah, and
business wise.
when
I'd
you
be interested to see.
when you think about it, like him and Patty, like have the swagger for that job. They totally do. Like those guys can handle it. They both know what it's like. They've had the experience of playing there and know what it's like. They know what it's like to be icons in Quebec. Yeah, I think those I think those are I mean maybe we're forgetting a couple, but I think those are two good options in my book.
I
Yeah.
invited myself back in here, but were you talking about Patrick Waugh?
We were talking about who would be your replacement GM if Marc Bergevin doesn't decide to stick around and to re-sign. So we mentioned either Vincent Danfous or Patrick Roy. So would you have any? Oh, there you go,
Oh, there's the answer. There's our answer, I
You get
guess.
my vote. No,
Patty Roy.
I don't know. I'm still conflicted on that one because Patrick's such a I don't know. I want him to come on this show someday, but he knows how fired up he gets. So
He's hot-headed.
That's what I'm saying would
Hot-head.
be like
Yeah.
so entertaining.
yeah,
I feel like he would just like go down on the bench and try to do it himself.
Oh yeah.
He's
I
that
feel
type
like
of guy.
yeah, like he would have no problem calling out like refs. Like he would have like it would be awesome. It'd be so entertaining.
it would be.
It'd be
Yeah.
entertainment. Yeah, pure entertainment.
Wow.
My dog has needs, so sorry for jumping in and out like this, but
Hey,
No,
no
that's
worries.
okay.
No worries. No worries, buddy.
I think
But-
we're just about to wrap anyways. We just wanted to basically acknowledge the mental health aspect that has been going around. It's been 2 players from our own team. The question was asked, is this something that's going on within the organization where you have 2 players who are openly coming out to say it's not going good, I need to step away from this team? But I don't think it's related to just being a Montreal Canadian. It's life, you know?
Yeah, there's absolutely there's no I don't know what the proper way to say it. The Montreal Canadiens, like when I played for the team on 2 occasions, I got treated the best of my whole NHL career. You have the best of the best. They do absolutely everything for you as a player, as a person. They take care of your family. So it's absolutely nothing with the team. This is a sport thing. That I'm glad is starting to show this because there's so many guys that have struggled. There's so many guys that are going to struggle. That's just the nature of this business. And anybody that doesn't, that gives the typical, well, that's what you get paid for. No,
No.
you get paid to play hockey in the ice, dealing with the stress and the anxiety of everything else. Like everybody else, it's a job. No matter how much money you make. This is a league-wide thing. And I'm really glad. I'm proud that 2 of the Montreal Canadiens were the guys to step up and do that. I think this is going to be a very, very reoccurring thing that happens a lot now that guys are seeing that it's okay and people are embracing them. And I think it's tremendous. So we don't have situations where, we're going into summers and there's numerous guys, that are killing themselves or doing something to hurt other people. I'm really glad with the direction that the NHL is going.
Yeah, we're definitely proud as a fan base to call Carey Price a part of the Montreal Canadiens and to being a leader to hopefully, like you said, other players will take what he did and maybe open up as well. And we're going to break the stigma eventually, which is a long time coming.
Absolutely. For everybody, everybody
Yeah.
during this pandemic is struggling with something, regardless of where you are in any walks of life. There's everybody has their struggles. You never know what somebody's going through, and it's okay to not be okay. And
There you go.
that's the greatest line. I think it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. I think that's takes tremendous courage, and you can see it, from athletes to celebrities, and everybody is doing it, and that's the world's trending in the right direction in that aspect.
That's some great Habsativity you got there.
Habsativity always.
That's
Stay
right.
tuned for some Habsativity, guys. We got something very
Brewing
exciting
for
for
you.
you. Brewing, absolutely brewing.
We're
It's gonna
teasing it hard on
blow
social
your
media.
socks off.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yes, it will.
Yeah,
Just in
absolutely.
time for opening night very soon. Let's go.
Exactly.
Just to quickly touch on the mental health thing too. I mean, like, it's strength to say that you're not okay. Like, it's not a weakness, and that's one thing. Like, I'm not talking. It's not, this episode certainly isn't about me, but just advocating for it myself. One of the best things I ever did was go to counseling. As a 17-year-old, as a 24-year-old, as a 32-year-old. Like, it's amazing how non-judgmental of an experience it is to have somebody to talk to that doesn't know you, and walk through whatever's going on, right? So I just wanted to plug that in there really quick, that everyone goes through it at some stage if they're really honest. And we're turning the page, and Habsativity is going to be part of it. That's all I'm going to say.
There we
Beautiful, buddy. Well said, my man.
You want to wrap us up, Drew?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you to those that have stuck through the whole episode. Let me just say that too, because for those that stick through the whole thing, we want to thank you. That's what helps YouTube keep recommending us to all you new viewers out there. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Of course, we bring a unique content that you don't catch anywhere else from a hockey standpoint. And please follow us on social media. We're growing that presence as we speak on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're going to be looking at maybe some TikTok stuff at some point, maybe. So have a little fun with that. But yeah, we really appreciate everyone that's tuned in today. And obviously, Dale, thanks for jumping on with us. The fans always love to hear from you, and it's reassuring to know that your friend, Carey Price, is making a heck of a decision, and it's going to impact so many lives. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Well said, buddy. And he's going to come back stronger and better than ever. We can count on that for sure.
Definitely. Thank you for watching, everybody. And we'll see you this week with some brand new content coming out.
Thanks, guys.
Go Habs, go.
Guys.